This is an example of a Toastmasters Club website hosted on Free Toast that I would love to recruit to try the WordPress for Toastmasters system, the Toastmost website hosting that I run. Now, I may not love every element of this design, but somebody has clearly put the work into putting together text, images, links, all sorts of things to highlight what makes their club special. And so if I am going to win them over to convert, I would need to make a case for how they can keep some of that content and just take advantage of the greater possibilities of formatting and design and other good features of the Toastmost platform. Now, I know about these guys partly because they are taking advantage of the online clubs directory that I put together recently. This is hosted on the toastmost.org domain, but most of these clubs are not using the WordPress website hosting service just yet. So I need to make a case for why they might consider switching. In order to turn this into a WordPress site, I'm going to copy and paste all this stuff. So I'm just selecting everything on the page, all the main content, and I'm going to do Control-C. On an Apple, it would be Command-C, right? And if we go to the homepage of toastmost.org, there's some marketing content here about why you would consider using this service, details on all the different designs you can pick from. What I would do is, first of all, you're going to have to set up an account if you already have one. The people who have signed up for the online directory would already have a password that they could use for this purpose. Once you're logged in, you click on Get a Website. And that's going to take you to this page, which has all sorts of tests that I've been doing listed up top. But here is where you would come to put in the web address that you're going to want to use. So initially, at least, it's going to be a subdomain of toastmost.org. And I'll make it dynamically testing. And look at what their actual schedule is. I'm just going to put this in right now as a placeholder because really what I wanted to demo was bringing in the content from their site. So I'm pasting this all in, including the images and the video, and we don't see it very much in there. We don't really want to futz with it here in this editor. All we're trying to do is capture that content so that we can edit it further in WordPress. We'll go down and we will pick a design that we're going to use. Actually, let's use this one with the sidebar. And we're going to do Create Site. And it comes back with a message saying that I should watch for the email that's going to give me instructions on how to finish the setup of my website. So that's going to take a few minutes. We'll wait for that to come through. Actually, while we're waiting, because that does take a few minutes, here's another club website. And this one shows a very common problem that I see on Free Toast Host sites. They've got an image here, their Zoom gallery image, but it's squished side to side. It's not reformatted properly. And so I went through the same process with importing a test version of this site. And here's how that came out. We have the introductory paragraph up top, and then I've inserted this widget that is for the guest registration. You don't have to use this, but if your club sets it up this way, you can have guest registration on your site, and as part of the confirmation message, you can send out your Zoom link so that you're not just publishing the Zoom link on the front page. Now, so you might want to rearrange some of this stuff, but the thing that I wanted to show you is that this image is no longer distorted. And so if we go into the WordPress editor, we can see the content here. Maybe we want to move that image back up top. So we're going to move it above these widgets for the guest sign up. And we can see now that if we want to resize this image, we can drag and drop from the corner and it will resize proportionally, which is what Free Toast Host seems to make difficult for people to do. Meanwhile, I've gotten the email saying that my website is ready. So this is the dynamically speaking test site. So we're going to click through to visit that. And we'll see that again, it has the widget up top for their meeting schedule. Again, I didn't adjust it exactly, so it's not necessarily their real meeting schedule, but it is projecting out all the Wednesdays for a club that meets every Wednesday. And you don't have to use this. You can take this out if you like. But we've captured this image, which actually turns out to be part of a slideshow, which I didn't even get from looking at the other site. And we've captured the videos. This is not necessarily going to be perfect, but we can now go into the editor and improve on it. So again, we're gonna go up top to where it says edit page. Now notice that there are some instructions over on the side here talking about how to get to the edit page function. Normally you would just see this black bar across the top when you're logged in. And if you have admin rights, if you have editing rights, you're going to have a link to say edit page. So you can click there. It also says if you want to bring over some additional pages from Free Toast Toast, you can do that. I'll show you that in a moment. But for now, let's edit the page and just see how well this content is imported, because it's not always going to be perfect. Sometimes there are glitches with how this stuff comes in. But so we have the widget. We have this short code here. This is where it is bringing in that, I guess it was a slideshow. It's a Canva embed. And so we don't see it quite visually on the page, but this is where that code is referenced that was from the old site. We have the video here. And we do have a few things like this area didn't quite import perfectly. I can click on convert to blocks, and then I will be able to edit it better. Apparently the issue is that this headline was kind of formatted as part of the list. And sometimes you might see something like creates invalid content. Usually if you click on attempt recovery, it will kind of straighten some of that stuff out. And again, maybe this image is a little too large. It was shown smaller on the other site, so we can drag and drop. We can decide that we want this to be centered. Again, we can start working with the WordPress tools. Now, one thing I should explain is that these images have not actually been downloaded into WordPress. I used to have a script that did that, but due to some technical changes, I guess they're trying to block bots or whatever, I'm not able to automatically do that. So this is actually still pointing to the image that was uploaded to Free Toast Toast. Over time, what you'll probably want to do is replace this, because some of the controls are missing here for formatting. But to show you that, let me grab a different picture. So I have a collection of various speaking images down here. I'm going to grab this one. And when we replace this image, we'll actually see that some additional controls appear, because every time you upload a new image, WordPress actually saves several different versions of it. So you can have a full-size image, which pretty much looks the same as large, but the medium image, or we can have a little squared off thumbnail image. And within this, there are also controls for example, doing rounded edges on the image rather than square edges. And we can adjust the proportions too. We could make it portrait instead of being the original landscape format. So there's lots of additional controls that become available when we have an image uploaded natively into WordPress. But actually, the images brought in from Free Toast Toast give you a lot of additional controls as well. And they don't screw up your image resizing. Now, as I mentioned, you can import some additional pages from your old site. So we can go to import text and images, and this works with FreeToast. It actually should work with other website formats. If you had a Wix site or something, you probably could bring in some content with this, but it particularly was meant to adjust for some of the peculiarities of how FreeToast handles things. So they have this page called Meeting Fun, and it has some additional videos from the past. Maybe they want to keep this stuff. So again, we can copy and paste all these images, all this stuff about fun that they have had. And now we're going to go to this importer tool within the existing site. And we're going to call this Meeting Fun, I think it was, with an exclamation point. And we're going to leave it as save as draft for further editing. You could also replace the home page, but I don't think we want to make this the home page. So save as draft for further editing. It'll come back after a minute and say, yes, I've saved the draft. And so then you can go in here and edit it and clean it up. And again, there is a Canva thing here. There's a bunch of videos and some images. And so you can work from there. Now, this isn't published yet until I click the Publish button. And so now this will be live on the website at the address Meeting Fun with a headline Meeting Fun. But notice it doesn't show up on the menu yet. So we probably want it to show up on the menu. We could also add a link within a page. So let's do that first. Let's go back to the home page, and we'll say we want to have a link that says, this also needs to be converted to blocks. See examples of fun meetings. And actually, if I put in the word fun, it should actually search for it and show me that link. So see examples of meeting fun, save that. Let's go look at it. And now we have a link to see examples of meeting fun. Great. But if this is something that we do want to be on the menu, this is where we're going to go into the WordPress site editor. So now I'm getting into some slightly more complex things, but let me just cover it to be thorough here. So the menu is a component. So just about everything in WordPress is some kind of WordPress block. And so there are different types of content blocks. So the basic ones are things like images, headlines, paragraphs, headings. But the navigation block is also a content block, and within it there are menu items that are their own little content blocks. So we select the navigation block, and we can add, again, we'll search for fun. It'll come up as meeting fun, and meeting fun will be added to the end of the menu. Maybe we want to put that up here to make it a little bit more prominent. Or we could also, if we drag over to the right, we get this indented thing. So now this is a submenu. So Meeting Fun would show up as a submenu under the members page. There's a members directory page that is part of the default setup here. Again, these things you can keep them if you like them. You can remove them if you don't, or ignore them. But we'll save that. And again, we're going to go out and view our site. We made it a submenu under members, meeting fun. There's meeting fun. There is also a way of importing the agenda, and it's done through a similar copy and paste method. It's going to give you approximately the same agenda in Toastmost format, but here what you would do is you would log in and you would go into the page where you would be editing your agenda content. And if you copy and paste that into the text box and submit it, it will try to import your agenda. You're probably going to have to do more adjustments after you get it into the Toastmost system, but it will, for example, try and count how many speeches you have and make room for the same number of speeches on your Toastmost agenda. So I would love it if you found your way over to toastmost.org, read up on the virtues of the system, and gave it a try. So there's no cost to get started. Unfortunately, unlike Free Toast Toast, I don't have support from Toastmasters International. I don't have financial support anyway. They've given me some guidance on use of the brand colors and things like that. But if you come in here, if you are a member of the online clubs directory, you'll already have a password. If not, you just need to sign up with your email to get a password to the site. And then you would click on get a website. You're going to put in your information and you'll be off to the races.